So good morning, all of you. Am I audible? Okay. So I think the today's session will be the conclusive session of our topic, that is on sorting and searching. So as far as syllabus is concerned, we have covered all the topic, starting from bubble sort, selection sort, quick sort, merge sort, linear or sequential search, and binary search. So first, we will quickly go through it just for a revision. Then we will discuss some of the questions which have been asked, or the pattern of questions which could be asked in your final theory exam. Uh, it is to being noticed that there is one technique which is actually not there in the syllabus, but for some reason it is been asked multiple time in final examination. So we will discuss that technique as well in detail. So this will be the, and then finally we conclude this topic. And so this will be my input from today. You are also should be involved in, if you want to ask something, anything on this topic, because this will be the last session, common session on this topic. So let us first quickly review what we have studied yet. First one was the bubble sort. Bubble sort means a sorting technique in which two adjacent elements will be compared with each other, and if you are sorting in increasing order, then if the element on the left is greater than element on the right, that means that is the false condition. In case of false condition, what you will do is the swap operation. So this is what you are doing. If you just observe this loop, you are comparing two adjacent elements, a of j and a of j plus 1. And if a of j, that means element on the left, is greater than element on the right, that means that's the false condition. In any sorted array, this should not happen. So in that case, you will swap it. You will keep on repeating this procedure till n minus 1 time. So that is the bubble sort. In case of selection sort, the approach is slightly different. Instead of comparing two adjacent element, what we are comparing over here is the first element and then remaining element, then second element and then remaining element, third element, then remaining element. So that means at any point of time, if the element which you are comparing is greater than, see this, the element which you are comparing is greater than the element on the right, in that case you will swap the operation. So this is selection sort. Approach is different, otherwise if you consider from the time complexity perspective, here is also one nested for loop, here is also nested for loop, so the time complexity is same. This we will discuss later. This is the technique which I was discussing about, that it's not there in your syllabus as part of content. But if we see the questions, it will be asked, I think, 2 to 3 times in past years. So we'll discuss that, but later. Then, okay, this is also we have discussed is a linear searching technique. It's a simple algorithm in which you have been given an array, the size of array, and the element which you want to search. The simplest technique in which you will start from the first element and you will go till the last element. At any point of time, if you found the element, then you will return the position at which element is found. In case array or in case element is not present, what will happen is this loop will get terminated without returning from here. That means it indicates that it's a false condition, so -1 will be returned. -1 indicates that element not found. Another approach is a binary search, which we have discussed in the previous session. Uh, it's a slightly different, not slightly different, it's a very different approach than what we do in linear search. And it's very efficient as well. But the precondition is that array should be sorted in increasing order. So before you search for anything, your array should be sorted. So that is the precondition of binary search. How it does, there can be two ways to write it. One is an iterative one, that means using loops, and another is a recursive one, that means using function call or recursive function call. Let us discuss this first. You have two pointers. One is running from, or you have two pointers, left and right or low and high. First point is, don't look at this loop now. First point is, you find out the midpoint. If the element which you are searching, key, is less than the midpoint, it means that now your search space should be changed to low to mid minus 1. मतलब आपका एलिमेंट अब लो से mid minus 1 में ही हो सकता है because the array is sorted. So now my search space will change. That means my high value will change. So high is equal to mid minus 1. In other case, that means your key element is greater than midpoint, then your low value will change. If this is not true, this is not true, then obviously your key is at midpoint, so you will return mid. You will keep on repeating this till your low is less than or equal to high. Once you found that low has become greater than high and you have not come out of this, it means that that's a false condition. That means you will return 0. So this is a binary search using iteration. Another approach is binary search using recursion. When you are calling a recursive function, you must be noting that there are two cases which are applied. First is the terminating condition or a base condition. So any recursive function or recursive algorithm should have a base condition. This is actually the base condition. But before you look inside the base condition, let us look into the else part. So this is else part. So what we are doing over here, you have been given a 4 parameter, the array A, the low or high. Low and high two elements between which you are searching inside this array for a key. This is how you can describe this 4 element inside with a single statement. So your first step is you find out the midpoint, as we have done in the as we do in the binary search algorithm. First midpoint find out. Then if you found that your key is at midpoint, then you have to simply return the midpoint because your key is found. In case key is not found and your key is less than midpoint, that means now your search space will be changed to it is less than mid. That means it cannot be on the right of mid. So that's why your search space will change to low to mid minus 1. So again you will call the same function. See this rbin search. Rbin, this should be rbin search actually, not recursive bean search. So rbin search is again you are calling the same function, but the parameter is low to mid minus 1. Here the parameters are mid plus 1 to high. But when this terminate algorithm will stop, it will stop in two cases. Actually in one case only. Sorry, two cases. One, it is found. Found will be covered by this. But what about not found? So that you have to check over here. At any point of time, whenever you are making a call, your low must be less than high. I think this is actually there is some change required over here. The change is that either you have this or you should have this, not both. Right? So let us do it in this way. If low is less than high, sorry, greater than high, then you return 0. What we have been doing over here, if low is greater than high, then you return 0. Same cases apply over here. If low is greater than high, then return 0. Otherwise, you go in the else part. So this is how this algorithm should be looked at. I think this is confusing. So you should remove this. Simply make it low is greater than high, then return 0. Right? So this was about binary search. We also discussed two more technique which is based on divide and conquer approach, that is merge sort and quick sort. The merge sort and quick sort both are a technique based on divide and conquer approach. So if you see the algorithm, merge sort between low and high, assuming that A is a global. Okay. So global means that you are not passing over here. Otherwise, you should have third parameter as well, that is A. See, I'm deliberately writing the things in different ways so that you should understand the way of writing the algorithms as well, right? Sometimes I write that A will be passed over here. Sometimes I say that A is global. So this is how it should be understood. Algorithm means that whatever you are doing, you should have a mention of it. So when I'm not passing the array over here, that means I'm assuming something that should be written over here, right? So merge sort. First step is find out the midpoint. Second step, now you merge the array between low to high. Two parts. That means the result of merge together. That we are doing using this algorithm. How we are doing it? When you want to merge two components, two parts, you will first compare the first element of both the part. So what you are doing, you are having three index H, I, and J. Uh, Wait a minute. Okay. So I is basically an index of result. H and J are indices of left one part and second part, or I can say left. I should not say left and right part, but first part and the second part. So what you are doing, your first part index H should be less than or equal to mid, and should not go beyond mid. The index of second part should not go beyond high. And what you are doing in that, if A of H, that means the element from the first part is less than or equal to element from the second part, it means that A of H is lesser. That means you should copy that in the resultant array. And because you have copied an element from the left part, you will increment that index H equal to H plus 1. Here, the reverse. You will make sure that you are copying the A of J and incrementing J equal to J plus 1. Again, there is one mistake over here, that after this or before this while loop, I should write I is equal to I plus 1, because in any case, this index is not being incremented. I is not incremented over here. So that means I should write it after this if else loop. So there is a correction. Once this is over, then there will be some remaining elements either in the left or in the right. So that should be copied again to the resultant array. So that we are doing over here. If H is greater than mid, that means there are elements in the second part. H has already been completed. So elements are there in the second part. So copy all the element of the second part inside B. Otherwise, there will be an element in the first part, so copy that inside B. And finally, your result is in B. That should be copied back to A. So that's why you are writing this final for loop. So this is merge sort. In quick sort, the approach is, even though the approach is divide and conquer, but here the partition is more smarter than what we have done in merge sort. And due to that only, you don't require the third step, which requires in the merge sort. So that is this one. So you don't require this actually. But in case of quick sort, you can't have this simplest division. So this is the simplest division, mid equal to low plus high by 2. So instead of complexity of merging, they have introduced the complexity at partitioning. So instead of the simple division, now you have another algorithm for partition over here. And due to that, you don't require a merge operation. So otherwise, this is same. If your P is less than R, that means your index on the left is less than index on the right, then you will divide your main problem P into two sub problems, and that index will be found using the partition algorithm. So what you are passing to the partition, P and R plus 1, that means the left part and the right part. And then you have a quick sort for a left part, again quick sort for the right part. Remember, you are not touching the element at Q. So here you are calling P to Q minus 1, and here you are calling Q plus 1 to R. If you compare it with the merge sort, finding mid, but you are not skipping mid. You are calling from low to mid over here and mid plus 1 to high over here. But in case of this, you are actually skipping that Qth element. So P to Q minus 1 and Q plus 1 to R. So that is the difference. Why you are skipping it? Because it is being assumed that once you do this partition, A of Q is already at an appropriate position inside an array. So that is the reason why you are not touching Q when you are calling the uh, recursive one again. So how the partition works? Okay. First, you will find out the pivot element. Pivot is A of left. Now, this is optional. Pivot can be any element, but mostly either it is A of left or it is A of right. If it's an ascending order, then most of the time pivot is the leftmost element. And if it is a descending order, then pivot is the rightmost element most of the time. So, and then you are running two indices, one from left, second from right. While your indices are not overlapping, that means I is less than j, you will keep on skipping all the elements which are less than pivot. So while a of I is less than pivot, you will keep on moving, keep on skipping that. So I equal to I plus 1. Okay. Now there are two cases when this loop will terminate. First case is this, that you have found some element which is less than pivot, but there may be the case that there is nothing on the there are no elements which are less than pivots. You will keep on incrementing I, then you will reach at a point of R. R means your rightmost, that means your end of array. So when you reach at the end of array, then also you should terminate this loop. Otherwise, this will go in the infinite loop if it doesn't found something which is less than pivot. So that's why this is the second terminating condition. You should not search beyond array. Similarly, over here, you will keep on decrementing j, but you should not search beyond array. That's why you should not search for a of 0, or sorry, a of minus 1. If you are saying that your array starts with 0, then you should not go beyond 0 on the left side. So these are the two loops will be keep on repeating. Then once you found that this is over, then you will check the position of I and j. If your I, that means the element which is running from left to right, is less than the index which is running from right to left, in that case you will swap the element A of I with A of j. Actually, you are calling another algorithm. What you are doing is Aij, and you are swapping A of I with A of j. You can also write these three statements inside this if condition as well. So if that is the case, then you will swap. If that is not the case, that indicates the termination. So it will come out of this loop and it indicates the partitioning has found. So finally you will swap the pivot element with A of jth element and you will return j. So this is quick short, right? So these are the techniques actually which we have already been discussed. It was just a quick recap of what it is. Now let us just go through the question bank. Okay. Fine. So these are the, I'm not going to discuss the answer of every question because most of them are descriptive one. But let us just quickly go through it. Explain sequential search. That means you have to write down the algorithm for linear search technique. It is of 3 marks, so algorithm is sufficient. Write an algorithm for binary search. Again, you can write any algorithm. If it is not being mentioned, that write a recursive algorithm or write a iterative algorithm. अगर ये ऐसा नहीं कुछ पूछा है specific, then you can write any algorithm for binary search. Again, binary search. Okay, how binary search technique can be applied to search for a particular item with a certain key? the same question but asked in different way. So don't get confused. You have to simply complexity. So let me throw some light on that. Okay. So this is the time complexity of binary search. You may not understand what it means, but let me explain you in this way. See, it's a binary search. So if you wait, so if you binary search, that means it is always being divided into two elements. So it's like if this is a problem statement, then it will be divided into two parts. So this is your midpoint. So you will simply divide this into n by 2 and n by 2. This n is number of elements. So if there are n number of elements, then you will find first midpoint and you will compare that value. Either it will be in this element now or it will be inside this element. So again you will right. So this will be n by 4. Okay, this will be n by 4. Again you found that it is not you have a midpoint over here and it is found that it is in the right part. So again you will simply split that. So this is how it goes, right? And basically this is actually a binary tree. So if you draw, right? And it is a mathematically proven that height of the binary tree. So if you see this, the height of the binary tree for any array of n element, it is actually always log n with base 2. So normally log n with base 2 is known as LG. So this is the height of any binary tree of an element. So if there are n element and you keep on dividing this, so this will be further divided, you divide this. Right? You are finding something, either it will be at any place, but at the end if you find it somewhere, either you found it or you say that there is no element. So at the max what you are doing over here, actually you are making this many number of comparisons. So if this is the my case, then you have 1 2 3 and 4 comparison. So at the most 4 comparison, after 4 comparison you will get the result whether the element is there or not. That 4 is actually your number of steps your algorithm performs, and that 4 is actually in general it is LGN. N is number of elements, LG is log n to the base 2. Normally log has base of 10, but you can also find log with different bases. So when you have base of 2, then it is known as LG. So for any binary tree, this is mathematically proven. For any binary tree, the height of the binary tree is LGN. That is the first thing which you should remember. And second thing, in case of binary search tree, you are always at the max searching for this many numbers. So that means you are actually at the max searching for height of the tree. And that's why this is the time complexity of binary search. So if you see this, if there are n numbers, I think then the height of the binary tree is log n. Log n is the time complexity. It is not actually log n. I think it's log n to the base 2. So यहाँ पे base भूल गए, right? So there are lots of mistake in this. What I found. So even though it is being made by me only, but here it's a mistake actually. So it's a log n to the base 2. Here also it's base 2. Here also it's base 2. Or I should write LGN. Okay. But this is the time complexity of binary search. I know this will not be clear, but as I have already discussed with you that should not worried about it. Just remember that in the next term, or sorry, in the next year, you have entire subject on this to understand the time complexity of any algorithm. So what we have been discussing is right, question bank. So that was about the binary search and time complexity. Write the algorithm for binary search and find its time complexity. And it is the 4 marks, right? So you have to look at this field as well, because that will tell you the how many or in what detail you should write the answer. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको अगर कोई टॉपिक पता है और 7 मार्क्स का 3 मार्क्स का है और आपको जितना पता है वो सब लिख दिया, right? That will actually affect your timing. Basically in data structure there will not be any crisis for timing actually, right? So because there are no long answers, there are no long descriptions which are supposed to write, but still you need to focus on this as well when you are writing the answers. So that was binary search. Okay, then this is the question: write down precondition algorithm for binary search. What is precondition? Anyone? Well, the precondition is array must be sorted. That's what we have discussed, right? Whenever you are sorting something, or sorry, searching for binary search, your array should be sorted. So that's the one line you should write and then explain the binary search method. Next is write a binary search method and discuss its efficiency. So in almost every year, you will find this question in different ways, right? So that's important to be understood. Okay. Regarding sorting, write a C function for selection sort. That means instead of writing an algorithm, you are supposed to write down the C program for selection sort. Not necessarily the entire program, but at least you should write the function, right? So basically it's a copy of algorithm only, but it is in C's manner. C means that your array index starts with 0. Okay. What is the complexity of quicksort algorithm on sorted data? Justify your answer. Okay. Complexity of quicksort algorithm on sorted data. Again, on sorted data means that either, see, there are two cases. When your data is sorted, either it's sorted in an order which is being, let us say it's ascending order which you want to sort, and your data is sorted in descending order. So that means data is inversely sorted. But here it is said that data is sorted. Sorted means you can assume that you want to sort the elements in increasing order, but the elements are already sorted. So your input is actually the output over here. Then what is the time complexity of quicksort algorithm? That is the question. Then you have a quicksort algorithm to sort the following data, justify the steps. So here you have to just simply take these elements and show the iterations. Write a C program for bubble sort, write an algorithm for quick sort. When it is being asked that write the algorithm for quick sort, it means that you are supposed to write both the algorithms, quick sort as well as the partition algorithm. Because partition algorithm is part of quick sort algorithm. Then write a selection sort and discuss its efficiency. Selection sort, you know, efficiency is big of n square. Write a C program for insertion sort. Okay, this is what we are supposed to discuss. Write an algorithm for selection sort and explain each step with an example. So here algorithm as well, and you should take one example and explain it because it's a 7 marks question. Again insertion sort. Okay. Sort the following number using selection sort and quick sort. No need to write the algorithms, remember. It's a 7 marks question, but there are two methods and this one. So there is no mention of algorithm, so no need to write. Whenever you have been asked that explain quick sort, that means algorithm is to be returned. Explain selection sort, algorithm is to be returned. Write an algorithm, algorithm is to be returned. But sort the following number using this, no need to write down the algorithm. You can simply write the steps or iterations for these numbers using the method which have been asked. Again, explain the trace of selection sort on following data, right? Explain the trace of bubble sort on following data. Okay, this one. If no interchanges occurred, then the table must be sorted and no further passes are required. Which sorting method works on this principle? Any idea? No interchange occurred. Okay, let me give you a hint. It's either selection sort or bubble sort. Anyone? See, remember you are saying that these numbers using that technique. So this is what. Next is apply quick sort on following data. Explain the difference between insertion and sort and selection sort with an example. What is the time complexity of this algorithm and how? 7 marks question. So here you are supposed to, hello, So am I audible now? Okay. So that was basically a network problem. Fine. So we have been discussing this. Explain the difference between insertion short and selection short. So remember, you are supposed to write the difference. No need to write the entire algorithm. See, this is when I say that you know this, right? For some reason, if you don't know the answer of this question, then it's better to write anything which you know about that question. Am I clear? Right? You have been asked something about insertion short and you are not sure that what should be the answer, then without writing anything, better you write an algorithm for insertion short. So that will at least give you some weightage of your knowledge, and examiner may give you some marks for that. So that's the thing which you should follow when you don't know the answer. But when you know the answer, then no need to elaborate more on that. You should be very precise about the question. So that we will discuss later because you don't know what is insertion short. And finally, the merge short. So these are I think the question till summer 2018. And it is the same in 19 as well. That means the question were same, I think. There was no. So this was a 2019 question paper. So two questions were asked: write an algorithm for bubble short and write an algorithm for merge short. 3 marks, 4 marks. No other question, I think. Yeah, there is one more. State and explain time analysis for linear search and binary search. Okay. I think at some time I will discuss more on this time and space complexity, but not today. Okay, just before your once we finish the entire syllabus, we will discuss on this. So that was about the recap. I think one algorithm based is still, I think, should be discussed is insertion short. So I will not go in the detail of it. It means each and every step, but let me show you this example. Let us say we want to short this number, right? And the approach is insertion short. As the name suggests, uh, this is an approach in which insertion is the major operation. So imagine that you have another array which you want to create, but that array has to be in inserted order. So what you will be doing over here, see this is the first step. So first element is 3. Because there is only one element 3, you will not do anything with that. Next element is 44. So you will remember that element. So let us say your element is 44 and you will put the 44 element at appropriate position in this new array. Imagine that there is another array as well. This is just the imagination. So what will happen? Sorry. So what will happen next? Because there is only one element 3, the second position will be taken by 44. Then next is 38. So now you have one element which is 38 and you want to insert that inside this another array. So what will be 38 the position? So you will start comparing with the last element because you know that this is sorted. So we'll start comparing with the last element. If the last element is greater than this element, then you will shift this element towards right. So what will happen that 44 will be shifted towards right. Again, this 38 will be compared with 3. If this element is greater than this, then this will be shifted, which is not the case. over here because 3 is less than 38. So what will happen now? 38 will take this position which is empty, right? Again, 5. You will start comparing an element with 44. So 5 and 44 compared. Next, because 44 is greater than 5, it will be shifted towards right. Again, you will compare 5 with 38. 38 is greater than 5. This is the comparison. 38 is greater than 5, so it will be shifted. Then 5 will be compared with 3. 3 is not greater than 5, so that is the point where you should stop. Right? So that is the first false condition. So this is the condition where you should stop comparison and insert the element. That's why the name is insertion sort. So we will insert that. Right? Next is 47. 47 will be compared with 44. At first comparison only you found the false condition. So that will be stopped and you will insert it. Again next 15. 15 will be compared with 47. Because it is greater, you will be shifting it. Again shifting, again comparison. But it's a false case. So what you will do? You will simply insert this. 36, shift. 38 is greater than 36, so shift. But here it is less than, so stop comparison, or sorry, stop loop and insert it. Keep on doing this. Okay, I want to discuss one more case, so I am just quickly removing this. Okay. 7, again 47 will be shifted, 44, 38, 36, 26 will not be shifted. 2. Okay, so this which I want to discuss. So this is another false case when the comparison will stop. So see this 47 and 2 will be compared, 44 and 2 will be compared, 38 and 2 will be compared. Next, next. Now remember you are at the first position now. That means there are no elements. So when you reach at this position also, then also your loop or comparison should stop. So there are two cases in which comparison will stop. Either you found an element which is which is less than the element or a key element. And second, either you reach at the end of the array. In both the cases, comparison will stop. So this is how it, again, 4 will take its place, 19. Okay, so this is sorted. So if you see the algorithm, this is insertion sort. So you have two parameters, a and n. Array of numbers, a is an array of numbers, n is number of elements. Remember, we have not touched the first element, so you are starting from the second element. So for j equal to 2 to n, you are starting from the second and go till the last. Remember a of j as a key element. So you see this, and this is your key element, a of j. You start comparison with one element which is less than j. So if you look at this, you start comparison with one element which is less than j. So this is my j, one element is less than j. That means you start comparing with this element. Obviously this is, while I is greater than 0, forget this. Now what you are comparing, while a of I is greater than key, that means a of I means this element and key means this element. Till you found an element which are greater than this, you will keep on skipping it. See this, you are comparing these two, you found that a of n key, so shift. What is shift? A of I plus 1 is equal to a of I. That means the next element is equal to the previous element. And you will decrement the value of I. So what you will do here? You will decrement the value of I. That means you are now comparing with 3. But Here it's a false condition. What is the false condition? This a of I is greater than key. A of I is 3 is greater than key. No. So that is the false condition. In case of false condition, what you will do is come out of the loop. Again, this is a mistake. It is should not be inside the loop, it is outside loop. So this statement should be here actually. It is not inside while loop, it is outside the while loop. So this is over. That means now what you will do, a of I plus 1 is equal to key. So what is a of I plus 1? A of I is this, a of I plus 1 is this, is equal to key. Right? So key element will be copied over here. We'll keep on repeating this again. Will come out of this, so it will goes to the for loop. So again it goes to the next j. So next element will be your key element. So now my 5 is my key element. So 5 is key, that means 5 is your j. Sorry, 5 is not j, but 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is your j value, so you will start your I with 2. You will compare a of I with key. So 44 will be compared, right? Till you found a of I is greater than key, you will keep on skipping it. So a of I plus 1 is equal to a of I is equal to I minus 1. At some point of time, you will found a scenario in which you will not find any element which are greater than key, like this. So this was the case when we have in case of 2. If you remember, okay, in case of 2, we have shifted all the elements. We have not found any element which are greater than, sorry, less than key. So what we have done, we have reached at a point. So that should be covered by this, while I is greater than 0. So that means this loop will terminate when your I becomes 0. Here it's an algorithm, so it is assumed that your index starts with 1. So your index starts with 1. When it becomes 0, it means that you are going now out of array. So that should be also the other case when your this loop will stop. So this is insertion sort. Again, it's an approach which is slightly better than bubble sort and selection sort. The reason for that is, you see the number of comparisons you are making over here, it is optimized. For every element, you see this is the third element, then you are actually making only 2 comparisons. In 2 comparisons only, you will come to know that where should be the position of the third element. Right? So if for every element, number of comparisons will get increased, but not like bubble sort or selection. So if there are n numbers, then there is a case of n number of comparisons every time. So in every iteration, in case of bubble sort, in every iteration you are making that many number of comparisons. However, it can be improved as well, as we have discussed, but still the insertion sort algorithm is better than bubble sort, but the time complexity is always n square. Because of n square is the time complexity for this as well, but it is slightly better in approach, but when it comes to the comparison, they are same, right? If you give the numbers, then the time complexity of bubble sort is also big of n square, it is also big of n square in this case as well. So this was about insertion sort. I hope it's clear. And with this, actually, we end our discussion on this chapter, that is sorting and searching. Any queries? What is the answer of 13? 14, sir. Question bank. This one, I told you. The answer is bubble sort. right? Double sort is the technique in which if no interchange occurred uh, for every entire iteration, it indicates that elements are sorted. Okay. Any other? Okay, so I think time is also the over. So I hope that you have understood the concept of every method. You are supposed to understand the algorithm, actually the approach. Uh, Most of the time, questions will be in this form only, that you will be asked some numbers and you sort it using this approach and that approach. So just remembering the algorithm will not going to work. Those who are good at remembering the things, they will struggle in this case, right? So better to understand the method and then remember the algorithm if it required really, right? Otherwise, you can always write the algorithm if you know the approach in exam also, but it might take some time, so it's better to remember it. But remembering only is not going to help, because most of the time you will find this kind of a question, so you must know or you must understand the approach. So that's all. We'll be discussing non-linear data structure in our next class. So that is the other topic. I will be putting assignment on this on a classroom, so theory assignment. So I think there will be one question for every topic. So you are supposed to write down the questions of that, or sorry, answers of that, and submit on the classroom only. And if you have any doubt also, then you can raise it on uh, classroom as well. So that's all. Have a good day.